Hello and welcome to the Raisina Dialogue Fireside Chat. Today we have with us a very distinguished diplomat, Ambassador Shahidul Haque. He is the former Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, and after retirement he has taken to academics. He currently holds the Bangabandhu Chair at Delhi University, which has been set up to honor the memory of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in his centenary year. And he also teaches political science at North South University in Bangladesh. Welcome to this chat.
Thank you very much.
So I thought today we could talk about Myanmar. It is, whatever happens in that country impacts Bangladesh, and it also impacts India. It's 1 year since the coup in Myanmar, which dislodged the elected government. So, very quickly, how do you see internal affairs of Myanmar developing over this 1 year, and how it has impacted the immediate neighborhood?
Thank you very much. I think you have rightly pointed out that Myanmar is an extremely important country in Southeast Asia. It has always been a theater of geopolitics, Burma, and that's why it is important. But Burma has, to a large extent, been military ruled and sort of an instability creating country. After the coup, we see that it has really been 1 year of a civil war between the military, junta, who took over the power, and the general people, led by the Aung San Suu Kyi's party, NLD, as a civil obedience movement. And they have also set up a government called National Unity Government. So the country is divided, and that instability is having an impact all over South and Southeast Asia.
How is it impacting Bangladesh?
On Bangladesh is impacting greatly because leading to this crisis, what has happened is large number of Rohingya population left Myanmar and came over 1 million now, and they are unlikely to go back and return, thereby creating a unstable region. That's one. It is also leading to a thought that these people who have been forced out of Myanmar, and they are Muslims, might end up being radicalized and used by various bodies, and could create problem for not only for Bangladesh but also for the region, including China.
No, Ambassador, Rohingyas were always radicalized. That is at least one perception of it. The whole idea was that there would be an effort to make Myanmar take back the Rohingya refugees. Bangladesh has taken the brunt of it. Some of them have moved into India. But that doesn't seem to be happening. And do you think Myanmar would ever take back the Rohingyas?
I think I'm optimistic. In long run, yes. What Bangladesh did after this particular exodus, Bangladesh not only had a bilateral kind of an agreement right after the exodus in 2017, end of December, but also then took it to the UNGA. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina took it to the UNGA. So it's sort of a multilateral forum engaged. And also there is a case pending in International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court for against the Myanmar regime for committing atrocities, including genocide. So that's there. So what I'm trying to say that this is creating a huge pressure on the military government, and military government is giving indications that they are willing to take back. Meanwhile, what has happened, the National Unity Government, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, they have for the first time come out with a policy paper in public, saying that Rohingyas are part of Myanmar, Burma, and if we come back, when we set up the government, we will take them back and we'll give them citizenship. So that's there in the public. So once something happens, I think both sides will have to live with their commitment or what.
When Aung San Suu Kyi was there in office, she was speaking a different language on the Rohingyas.
Absolutely.
So let's not forget that.
I think also situation changes people, and I tend to believe that. And I have met her a number of times. She's a great sort of human rights person. We hope that after the lesson that she has learned in terms of dealing with the military of her own country, I think she will make sure there are more inclusive government rather than creating so many fractions and
but then
groups.
What? Okay, that's one part of it. The other part of it, of course, is the economic part of it.
Yes.
The integration of this region through connectivity, trade, that again is faltering because Myanmar continues to remain in isolation and the junta doesn't seem to be very keen on getting into the act of integrating this part of Asia.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
So how do you see that playing out?
I think Myanmar has decided to remain isolated for most of its existence after 1948. In fact, after 68, it withdrew from the international community, and there has not been much interaction between them and the rest of Southeast Asia. I mean, you know, they took quite a bit of a time even to join ASEAN. But we did make a very concerted effort in 2012, 13, 14, even 15, talking about border trade in line with the examples and good practice that we have with India. We also talked about trilateral collaboration between India, because part of India also borders Myanmar, and Bangladesh and Myanmar. But they were in the discussion, but I think they were not committed. So that's there. But on the other hand, they are making efforts to get linked with the Southeast Asia through East-West corridor, which passes through actually through the Rakhine and northern Rakhine. So they have something, but I don't know how the military regime will kind of take this forward, given that the ASEAN has taken a very strong position about the military rule. That needs to be seen. But the future of Myanmar, and especially northern Rakhine, which was always part of India, you know, after 1686, when the British took over, it was made part of India. It remains so. So logically, geographically, they are linked with South Asia, Bangladesh, India, to a large extent. And that's where their future is, because Yangon is far away from northern Rakhine.
What about the China factor?
That's a big factor, and the military regime has, I think, to large extent depends on Chinese support, strong support, both in the multilateral forum but also bilaterally. I think there is a strong affiliation between the two militaries, and that's something I think they are aware of it, and they are playing with it.
So, do you think in the medium term to the long term, if their internal politics doesn't change, and if there is no integration happening, this could become a part of the security matrix of the region?
Absolutely. We have actually two hot spots, almost in the same vicinity. One is Afghanistan, and the other one is the Myanmar. Now, both are currently extremely volatile, both Afghanistan and Myanmar. So, if especially coming back to Myanmar, if it doesn't get stabilized, back to democracy, or even a kind of arrangements where all peoples are included in the governance process, and they don't stop violating rights, human rights of minorities, things could go different way. And you know, there has always been a secessionist movement within part of Myanmar, and people say that Myanmar has never been in peace with itself, or Burma has never been peace with itself. So they have a history of conflicts with the minorities, and they have 132 different kinds of minorities. 7 are very big.
Yangon says that their main problem with the Rohingya was that it was a secessionist movement. They wanted their separate homeland,
Yep.
etc.
Absolutely, but the history suggests something different. In 1962, up to 1962, they had a desire and a movement which is based in the northern Rakhine of Rohingyas. But in 1962, there was an agreement signed. The Rohingya movement actually surrendered their arms. They become part of the government. There were some ministers made. There was MPs made. So I think that history is far, far behind. They are currently not looking at this, and there are about 1 million of them are in Bangladesh. And when we asked them, they said, no, we want to go back and live as a part of Burma. They call Burma. They don't call Myanmar.
You have a unique advantage. You have a view from Dhaka. You also have a view from New Delhi. What would be sort of your view on Myanmar in the next 1 year?
I think the Bangladesh, India should make a concerted effort to get Myanmar into the mainstream politics and economy. And there is strong possibilities, but there has to be a political will in both the countries to jointly work vis-a-vis Myanmar to bring stability back in whichever way we think that's possible.
What can India do specifically for this?
I think there needs to have
Three things
initiatives. First, there has to be an initiative. India is already engaged with
Yes.
Myanmar, as you know. They have a port and all kinds of things. There has to be a understanding that stability of Myanmar is critical. And for that, there has to be a joint effort. And at one stage, possibly we have to bring ASEAN into it. And India, being the South Asian country, should take a little bit.
Also have BIMSTEC, which can play a role.
Yes, but you know, BIMSTEC can play a role, but it hasn't played a role, where Myanmar is a member, and that has not actually taken off. So it needs a very kind of a trilateral initiative to stabilize Myanmar. That will be my plea.
And from Dhaka's perspective, what can Bangladesh do?
Absolutely. Dhaka made this proposal long time back to India, 2018, that let's do something trilateral, because we have a trilateral junction where all the three border meets, Bangladesh, Mizoram of India, and Myanmar. So let's have that as a zone of stability and prosperous, and a market. There's a huge market lying there, which is literally is nobody's actually under control. So that's an area where we need to look at to stabilize the what we call the game of the East.
We have run out of time. Thank you so much for joining
Pleasure.
us for this fireside chat.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.